Satnam, welcome everyone. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. My name is Pritpal Singh, and I am here every Tuesday and Thursday at the same time to chant the mantra, the Shabad, Dhandan Ram Das Guru, Jin Siddhyatine Savadia. And we're going to be doing that in just a couple of minutes. I want to give people time to arrive, but I also want to say that we'll be talking about this afterwards. Every time we do these sessions, we talk about some aspect of this Shabad. And so if you missed any of the earlier sessions, they are posted on our Facebook page under the videos, and you can go there and take a look. And, you know, each time I explain something, and so if you put it all together, you might know something, you might learn something. I try to explain the best I can. And then we've been playing a couple of different tunes, and I've been playing on some different instruments. Today I'm going to use the banjo, which is a North American instrument mainly, although it's arrived into North America really from the African traditions, and so it's made its way through the Americana movement, normally associated with Southern music, Appalachian music. Anyway, so I'm using it today. I think that it kind of fits with this Shabad, with this melody. So I hope you enjoy it. So please, if you know the words, chant along. Today I'd like to dedicate this to a new soul on this planet, a young child named Bodhi in California, son to Satkirtan Kaur, who I have known her all her life, and because her father, Bodhi's grandfather, is Guru Charan Singh of Upland, California. And so Bodhi arrived in this life a couple of days ago, and he has a few medical challenges. So during this time that I'm chanting this mantra, not only are we chanting for the general relief of COVID-19, but I at least will be sending young Bodhi healing prayers that he will be touched by the divine to ease and uplift and heal. And I hope that others may hold this young soul in their mind as they're chanting. All right, so here we go.
Holy Siri Janani Daria Puri Siri Janani Daria Siki Brahma ka naam sakaya Sikhiyate samiti Par Brahma ka naam sakaya Par Brahma ka naam sakaya Par Brahma ka in the city of in the city In the city of in the city
Sanam, thank you for joining us for that chanting of the Shabdandan Ram Das Guru. And I'm going to take a look in the comments, just see who's here. Guru Singh, old friend from London, from England, Cambridge, I guess, really. and Natalie, and I should say Guru Singh, longtime friend. Nothing to do with your age or my age, just longtime friend. And we have Natalie. We have our Simranjeet. Seems like I know you from somewhere. I just can't think where. And Daljit Singh, yes, from Brampton, Canada. Very nice. And we've got Satkriya Kaur and Rupinder is with us, and Deborah Franco from, I'm not sure where. And Sada Bahar has joined. We have Vic and Karen Deep. Karen Deep is a regular attendee of our programs, as is Gulzan. Mahan Nirmal from Rhode Island, welcome. And Floria from Brazil, very nice, welcome. And we have Gyan Jot from New York and Ukraine. Okay, must be difficult to do in these times of staying home, to be in two places at once. But you're all welcome to join us today, and I want to talk a little bit more about the Shabad and some common terms that come up here in the Shabad that some of you may be very aware of and some of you might not be. So in one of the latter lines in the Shabad, the line is Lab, Lob, Kam, Krodh, Moho, Markade to the Saparvarya. So it's a bit of a tongue twister if you're new to Gurbani, but what this line translates to mean is greed, envy, desire, anger, emotional attachment. So it lists these 5 things. And in Sikh teachings, there's a lot about trying to understand how to balance these 5 particular things. They sometimes call them the 5 thieves, or the 5 sins, the 5 demons. But the point is that they are challenges. In our human life, these are things where we are challenged as humans as we walk on this spiritual path, to look at greed. You know, a Sikh is very much directed through the teachings of the gurus to practice giving. There's a tradition called Dasvan, where you give 1/10 of your earnings to charity, to some use for people who are less able. And it's also about not being greedy about other things. It's not just about how you use your money or your wealth. It's also about how we use our consciousness, how we use our words, how we interact with people. And so if you can find the opposite to that, it might be generosity, right? So sometimes we talk about generosity of spirit, and I think that's really more at the essence of how to look at these 5 challenges. And so when we look at each one, we try to find, well, what is the expression of the opposite of that, or at least the balancing of that? How do we balance that? Because greed exists. We can find it in each of us, and so it's just a matter of acknowledging that it is there accepting that that's part of the human experience, and then to consciously understand when that expresses itself through you, through how you interact in the world, and then find a sense of gratitude as it expresses through a willingness to be in a giving kind of frame of mind. And so I'm going to go through each of these. So I don't want to dwell just on one. I'm going to move on. So envy is the next one that's talked about. And, this is about thinking we should have something that we don't have. And Patanjali also has talked about, or, the Patanjali 8 limbs of yoga. Also, one of those limbs is the yamas and the other one is the niyamas. So you get a discussion in the yogic texts also about this idea of how can you find an expression in life that doesn't take you down that dark road. So envy is certainly about coveting something that you feel you deserve, or that for one reason or another you don't have. It's a different kind of desire. It's really it's about envy is really about, I want it, but to get it, I'm going to have to take it away from somebody else. It's not just a desire to have it. It actually takes a negative form of trying to diminish someone else's life so that yours can be better. And I think that's really something that the Guru is aware of, that we need to pay. That's what this teaching is about, is paying attention to where envy can get involved in how you manage your life, and do these things that are popping up in our desire. Are they of that much value? What do they add to our life? We have to question all of that. Is it just about our personal ends? Is there a higher sense of purpose that could be served when I look at my desire for a thing or a relationship with someone? Because envy is not just about things. It can also be about having status, or having attention, or getting attention, or having recognition, all of that. The next one after envy is desire, or calm sexual desire. And this is about, so many things that are coming up these days, especially after the Me Too movement in all our areas of life. Are we behaving in appropriate manner with people around us? Are we noticing our words? Are we noticing how we may encroach on people's space without their permission? And ultimately, are we reaching and crossing a line of uninvited aggression, or any kind of touching and so forth? So this is a moving target a little bit, in that a lot of people are changing in their understanding around this idea, and realizing that there has to be a lot more openness, there has to be a lot more direct language about it. And that's new to a lot of people. And so the more we can bring it out into the open, the more light we get on this, then each of us finds a new way to interpret that within ourselves in a way that better expresses who we want to be, and not allow habitual behavior to come out, or unchecked desire. And I don't mean suppression, but rather, like understanding, oh, I am attracted to that person. Yeah, but, it's not appropriate. I have other relationships, or they have other relationships. And, there's a lot of question that has to be resolved before you know how to move forward. And so these can be explained away, but ultimately there is no explaining. So we have to just face it within ourselves, find our best self in that moment, and then bring that forward. The next one in this list is anger, Krodh. And, the fire that we bring forth sometimes. And, anger isn't all bad. Sometimes anger can be appropriate. I can be angry that global warming isn't being addressed more directly and more quickly. And that's appropriate. But when we start getting into a place where we allow anger just to come forth in a way to make us feel powerful, to dominate others, that has to be questioned. Some of us grew up with angry parents, or at least parents who used anger a lot to keep us in check. And even, that may be tempting with children across all generations. But is it appropriate? And so we have to really question that as well. And I know there have been times when my anger, my frustration at not being able to find a simpler, a more direct way to engage with somebody just results in me lashing out in anger. Or perhaps having another issue completely, but being so frustrated that anger arises in areas that don't need it. There's nothing there to be angry about. It's just that I've diverted my anger to someone else or in some other situation because of that. So, on the path of a Sikh, on the path of consciousness, it's a daily confronting of our own understanding of who we want to be, how we want to be understood, and how we want people to see us and be with us. We can complain about other people's behavior, but until we have checked our own, then there's more work to be done, And the fifth in this list of challenges is attachment. And, there's good attachment and there's not such good attachment. So that's another winding road of exploration within ourselves to understand. We can be attached to people, and sometimes that is okay. But when that attachment impacts those people in ways that limits their expression of who they are, then that becomes a problem and it's inappropriate. And that can be said for all of our relationships, from children to lover to partner to family, and even students and strangers. And, as soon as we become rigid in what we expect someone else to be or do, then we are attached to that outcome in a way that limits the other people's ability to be in their self and express themselves fully. So that's where attachment can be problematic. Attachment can also be a bit of a hindrance when we get attached to things that may not be available at the moment. Right now, we're all attached to being outside and being social with others. I mean, we're all feeling that, that pain of not being able to be with our families, be with our grandkids, our kids, our parents, our friends, and hang out in the way that we have done, most of our lives. And so that attachment is normal and understandable. And it helps to keep us focused on the relationships in our lives that are serving us and important, nurturing. So those are good attachments. Being attached to, I don't know, going to a particular restaurant, having a particular food. I understand them, I miss some of my favorite things to do like that too. But, in this time, we have to find a way to bring our higher consciousness to bear, to help us understand that to be safe and for others to be safe, then we're not going to do those things. We're not going to fulfill our desire to be having that particular experience. Even though we feel an attachment to it, we have to rise above. There's a school of philosophy in India that you may have heard of it. It's called Vedanta. And within the teachings of Vedanta, there is this understanding that thoughts move through the mind in a particular route. And in some of our training around Kundalini Yoga, we talk about this idea of the cycle of the intellect, where a thought comes into the mind and then it progresses as from a pure thought. It goes through and triggers an emotional response before even an intellectual understanding of that can perhaps be manifest or fully formed yet. We often can be triggered to react to this thought emotionally through attachment, through desire, right? And so when that emotion gets stirred, it can lead to then desiring some fulfillment of that, some response to that. And it's just in that moment, before we take the action to try to fulfill that we can step in and be in our conscious mind and discard that thought, let it go. Because we can see that where it goes next is an action that creates then karma. And so, we can look at the thought in a moment, in a flash, and understand, well, is this, if I take it further, is it going to elevate me? Is it going to fulfill me more on my path of allowing my spirit to unfold, my soul to be fulfilled? Is that where it's going to take me? Or is it going to take me to a place where my shadow is activated, my unconscious self is engaged? So in that flash, we can make that choice before it goes into an action and then karma. And so it's a great model to use as we look at these 5 challenges that our teachings from Sikh Dharma talk about. Lab, Lob, Kam, Krodh, and Moh. So these are greed, envy, sometimes lust is the next word that's used for translation, sexual desire, lust, anger, and attachment. So I hope we've given a little understanding of this line today. Lab, lobh, kam, krodh, moho, mad, kadde, tud, sapadavadya. It's in this Shabad, and we sing it every Tuesday and Thursday. I am just checking to see if anybody has posted any questions. Yeah, Gulzan, so, we practice what we call the Aquarian sadhana. Gulzan is asking about sadhana. And so the Aquarian sadhana, you can Google it. It has starts with reciting Japji Sab, and then usually a kriya, a Kundalini Yoga kriya of exercise, stretching, breathing, and then an hour of meditation with specific mantras. It's a particular sequence. You can find that online. There's lots of recordings of those mantras. There's even some live sadhanas that you can find being hosted online. So I'm sure you can tune in on that. Nobody else seems to be talking to me today about any questions. So today's Thursday. So tomorrow, Friday, we're going to do the program Home, Kirtan, and Chat. And my guest tomorrow will be Dave Sarupkar, who is a longtime Kirtan musician and teacher of Naad, which is understanding the sacred sound current of mantra and Shabad Guru. And so she will be my guest. She's going to play the Shabad that we call Narayan. And it's a beautiful Shabad that blesses the home. So she'll talk about that as well. We will discuss the Shabad and why she has chosen that Shabad to talk about during this time of COVID-19 isolation and challenge. So please tune in for that tomorrow at the same time as this program. That's 1 p.m. Mountain Time, noon Pacific, and 3 p.m. Eastern Time. And I'm just giving you the United States times. Those of you elsewhere, I'm sure you can figure out because you're here already today. So it's basically the same timing as this program. It just takes place on Fridays. And the week after that, so not tomorrow, but the next week, we will have Hansu Jotsing as my guest. Hansu Jot is from Germany. He's a young musician and he's getting a lot of attention. Beautiful voice, wonderful melodies that he's using. And so he'll be my guest next Friday. And the lineup will continue with other musicians. So I hope you'll keep tuning in. Every time we do these programs, we record them. We put them both on Facebook and on our YouTube channel, Sikh Dharma International YouTube channel. So if you missed some and you want to go back and check them out, last week we had Madhur Singh, also a longtime Kirtan musician. And before that, the week before, we had Satpurak Kaur and her husband Abhay Raj. And those were the first musicians we had. So we're accumulating some ongoing programs through that. So I want to say thank you again for attending. I'm going to tune out here in just a sec. So we hope to see you on Tuesdays and Thursdays. If you can make them, that'll be great. Please share this with other friends of yours. Please follow us and like this program, if you will. That'll help to get the word out. And I see that there's more comments, and yet I'm not seeing them. Oh, I'm sorry, I missed some here. Um, yeah, I'm not sure what that comment is about. Gyeongjo, not quite sure what you're saying there. Not when your subtle body is strong. Anyway, yeah, Kirandeep, challenges all around. And we have Gurucharan Singh Dillon from Indonesia. And yeah, so the question is which occasions are good for this mantra? Any occasion, but anytime you want to connect to bringing in some change, some upliftment, some miraculous benefit, you can tune in through this mantra. The story that I've told before is really about how this mantra is it came about because of some musicians who were serving the Guru, and they really went into what's called Shaktipad. Their ego became inflated. They turned their back on their Guru. And it was through their transformation, their personal elevation of spirit, that they were able to come back to the Guru. And in that moment, they presented this Shabad along with some others, part of a longer composition. And so I believe that this Shabad, this mantra, is good anytime that you feel you need a little divine intervention. So, Satnam Singh, great to have you with us. Yeah, I see that question. All right. Well, I think that's covered all the questions. Thanks again. But if you have questions during the week, just write them down somewhere and then post them in the comments on Tuesday or Thursday next week. I'll be happy to address them. Thank you all for joining us. May you be safe, may you be well, and may you stay home. Satnam, Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.